Good evening to everyone. We attended this meet to listen to the discussion of Dr. R.H. Rao. First, let me introduce myself. I am B. Hemant Kumar from BTech first year Computer Science and Business Systems. Now, I welcome our Assistant Professor C. Raghav Rao, who is the mentor to our section. Next, I welcome all participants who are participating in this discussion. The agenda for today's meet is opening remarks by V. Hemant Kumar, about CSBS by Mr. Aditya, orientation of diversity by Mr. Ashwant, introduction of chief guest Dr. R.H. Rao by Ms. Manasa, address of R.H. Rao, about the topic of diversity in workplace. Next, question hour by Ms. Aprin and Tharmanisha. Last vote of thanks by Amarendra. Now, may I request Mr. Aditya to continue the topic, what is CSBS?
Science and Business Systems, CSBS. TCS launched CSBS first at Bharati Vidyapeeth Deemed University College of Engineering, Pune in 2018-19. The curriculum aims to ensure that the students graduating from the program not only know the core topics of computer science, but also develop an equal appreciation of humanities, management, science, and human values. The students are also exposed to emerging topics such as underwriting, machine learning, cloud computing, Internet of Things, etc. to make them industry ready at the end of four years of study. The course focuses on enhancing the following key attributes among graduating students: understanding of contemporary technology, understanding of technology abstraction, business discipline, service orientation, innovation ability, strong in ethics and life values. This course has been approved by the Executive Committee of AICTE and is available in 55 colleges over India. Thank you for giving this opportunity.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Aditya. Now, may I request Mr. Ashwant to introduce about what is diversity?
What is diversity? The vast range of things that we find in and around us is known as diversity. For understanding diversity, let us take an as instance. Say, on our Mother Earth, there are different variety of things such as plants, animals, rivers, trees, birds, flowers, etc. in India. Diversity can be seen in variety of things such as religious, language, food, clothes, races, tribes, etc. The key aspects of understanding the diversity are different religious, cultural backgrounds. However, there are certain programs such as public schools. It has helped to reduce the level of economic inequality in education. Thank you for giving this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Ashwant. Now, may I request Ms. Manasa to introducing our chief guest, Dr. R.H. Rao.
Yeah, it gives great pleasure to introduce R.H. Rao, who is going to interact with us and share his experience as executive at workplace. Dr. Rao is a BSc with double first-class metallurgical engineer from IIT Bombay with first-class Fajr University, USA, and NIT Warangal. He has over 50 years professional experience at Mukund Limited, International Nickel and RPG Enterprises in the field of quality, technology, research, manufacturing, marketing, and organizational excellence. He was an adjunct professor at NMIMS University, a business management school in Mumbai. Dr. Rao authored over almost 80 papers and published 5 books on technology and management. He was a past chairman of Indian Institute of Metals, Mumbai chapter, visiting professor of IIT Bombay, member of Technology and Quality Improvement Committee of India Merchant Chamber, senior member American Society for Quality, and is associated with several other professional bodies, including National Center for Quality Management, Mumbai, as it is immediate past president. Dr. Rao won several awards and honors during his distinguished career. Prominent among them are Life Fellowship of IIM, National Award for Meritorious Invention, Distinguished Alumni Award of IIT Bombay, Nikon Award of USC, Sri Shanti Kumar Kidia Award, Professor P. Banerjee Memorial Award, QIMP Arup Gold Standard RPG Enterprises Outstanding Achiever Award and Tanija Award, to name a few. In October 2019, he has received a US patent for his invention on optimizing usage of water and other resources. Dr. Rao is passionately promoting performances excellence in both schools and colleges. As president, SVM Kesavnagar Samiti, he is guiding to impart quality education to around 300 primary and secondary economically needy schools going children in Hyderabad. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Manasa. Now, may I request our chief guest, Dr. R.H.G. Rao, to talk about what is diversity in a workplace.
At the forefront, I would like to personally thank Mansa for introducing me, and
Thank you, sir.
also I would like to thank Professor Raghu Rao for inviting me for this this session of probably about 45 minutes to an hour to be with you and share my experiences or views regarding the topic of diversity. Issue is a great feeling, and talking to students is not new to me because I was a visiting professor for several years at IIT Bombay, and also I was adjunct professor at Narsimha Monjee Institute of Management Studies in Mumbai, where I was teaching final year MBA for operations management. Having said that, let me just give a few introductory remarks on today's topic. I strongly believe that diversity is a reality. We see diversity throughout our life, even when we grew up, starting from being a child and moved on to our adulthood. We get married and we have children and we have our own family. And then taking up the job, again, job gives tremendous amount of diversity. And even at the old age. And at each stage, there are difficult and different situations. How we manage these situations is really the key for success. More than that, these situations also create different challenges. Each challenge has to be addressed and solved to ensure that we are happy in whatever we do and make others happy. Others then also include not only the education component of it and job component of it, but also personal aspect of it. There is no variation or a difference between a personal performance and a professional performance. When we personally grow, automatically the professional performance will have a significant amount of success. So I hope during this interaction with us, unfortunately, it is forced to be a virtual interaction. Otherwise, left to me, I would prefer to have a personal interaction with students and faculty. But even then, it's a great opportunity. Thank you so much. And I believe now you will be sort of questioning me, and I'll try my best to answer based on my education and my experience, and also currently as a corporate management consultant. Thank you so much once again for this opportunity, and I'll give it back to you, Emma.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for your valuable speech. Now, question hour by Ms. Afrin and Thermonisha. Over to Afrin.
Please share with us what is diversity and what diversity means to you, why it is important.
Yeah, there are definitely several definitions for diversity, but my experience shows that it is really the coexistence of different types. When I say the types, it includes people, it includes situations, it includes the dynamic technology, it includes organizations, and it also includes corporates. Since diversity, as I earlier said, it is definitely a reality, these different situations in which we are and the different types which we encounter in our life, since they create different challenges, each of these diversity related issues have to be addressed as we move along. So the appreciating them, first of all, and then addressing to them what are the issues which are involved, and manage to the best of our ability is really what I would consider that to look into the aspect of diversity and evolving appropriate management styles and management practices, management systems to take care of this diversity become very important. I brought in the management essentially keeping in mind the students who are interacting with me at this moment of time. So please go ahead with any other question.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, sir. This is Tanisha.
Good evening. Good evening.
It's a great pleasure asking a question. In your opinion, what is the most challenging aspect of working in a diverse environment, sir? Could you please share with us?
The very first aspect is we should appreciate and recognize the existence of diversity. If we see our own body, the 5 fingers of ours, they are not alike. There is a diversity. The functionality of these figures, of these fingers, also has an element of diversity. Look at our brain. If we take the left brain and the right brain, the functionality of these two parts of the major parts of the brain have got diversity. When we deal with particularly the corporates, as you grow to relatively senior levels, it becomes very important for us to appreciate there is an existence of what we call the different types. Type could be anything. Managing these become a very important component of it. How we manage this in a particularly dynamic situation is what normally we learn as we go ahead with the management. So therefore, the first part of it is recognition of the existing of diversity. And if we take even our own between us, All of us, we have different thoughts. We have different backgrounds. We all may be having a common objective of the learning. As far as I am concerned, is imparting to you whatever little I know, and you are receiving whatever I will be communicating to you. So, appreciating this, that we do have a diverse component of it among us, it is essential for us, first of all, to have recognized the existence. And secondly, you appreciate the fact that there is some degree of diversity, and appreciating, you will try to understand. We try to understand each other. I try to feel myself continuously whether I'm in a position to communicate to you whatever little I know in such a manner you find it relatively easy to understand. So therefore, first component is recognize the fact. Secondly, you appreciate that diversity exists. And then you understand what is the diversity that is there, maybe from the point of view of religion, from the point of view region, from the point of view of the relative capability of appreciation, etc., etc. And once this appreciation and understanding comes, from there, we start managing the diversity. How we manage the diversity itself is a different topic altogether. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. This is Afrin, and my question is, what is your approach to understanding the perspective of colleagues from different backgrounds?
Very good. It depends on the persons, please. It depends on the individuals. It depends on, if we are talking of family members, it depends on the family members. Not all are alike. Among our brothers, among our sisters, there is a diversity. There is a diversity between our parents and ourselves. Maybe because of their relative education, maybe relative age, because of their relative background, maybe because of their relative religious differences, etc., etc. And also it depends upon whether we are dealing with the family members or the social friends. If it is like professional colleagues, the way in which we appreciate the diversity and manage diversity changes depending upon whether you're dealing with the peers or whether we are dealing with the subordinates or whether we are dealing with the seniors. It's a different aspect altogether when we start dealing with the society. Finally, whatever we learn in these colleges or whatever we learn in the actual shop floor or management fields or actual professional working areas, ultimately, it should really benefit the society. So we attempt to keep the society very much in our mind. So here again, the path which I fairly successfully followed in my long life of probably 50-55 years of professional work, including as a corporate consultant, is the approach which I followed is I listen first. Listening is a great skill, please. When we carefully listen, we are able to respond positively and meaningfully to those with whom we are responding. So first is we listen, then we respond with certain degree of authority, not ego, please. I'm not talking about egoism. We respond with certain degree of sense. And the third aspect is, in this interaction, I should create, or you should create when you interact, the value to the other person. When we create the value to the other person, the performance is of a very high quality. It could be your parents, it could be your customers, it could be your professors, it could be anyone for that matter. I have one definition which I have very successfully employed throughout my life. Anyone who is impacted by my action, my customer. That is my definition of a customer. Normally, customers means those who have, with whom we deal from business point of view, need not be pleased. When I'm talking to my mother is my customer. I should add value to, through my conversation with her. My son can be my customer, my daughter can be my customer, neighbor can be my customer, society can be our customer. So when we deal in this particular manner, the topic of that, since it is a topic of diversity, unless and until we appreciate, I said earlier, the model, unless we follow those very systematically, and unless we listen to them, unless we respond to them positively, I'm afraid we will not be able to create value. Hence, the considerable importance of understanding this particular today's topic, which in my opinion is very, very important topic. And Professor Raghav Rao mentioned that to me, I said it's absolutely a lovely topic which you have decided to interact with me. Yeah, please go ahead. Ultimately, we'll create value, please, to anyone with whom deal with. Maybe our wife, maybe our husband, maybe our father, maybe mother, doesn't matter. Maybe our own children. If we do that, the performance will be of a tremendous way, tremendous significance. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable question. Could you share with us how would you handle a situation where a colleague was being culturally insensitive, sexist, racist, or homophobic?
It is not very easy. I was vice president of a company called Mukund Steel in Mumbai. I lived there for 50 years before I shifted to Hyderabad. And I had about 6,000 employees, around 5,000 and odd employees. There were very difficult employees to whom we had to manage. When I became corporate advisor to RPG chairman, Mr. Harsh Goenka, I was there in that position for 7 years. I had to deal with probably 45 companies with around 60,000 employees, with a total turnover of the group touching close to 45,000 crores per annum. It's very difficult to deal and answer this question straight away. But to summarize what we could fairly successfully do, I would say it is very essential for us to appreciate if any colleague has these characteristics which she has mentioned to me just now, we should first go through the colleagues' sensitivities. Not all have got a happy life at home. Not all have got contented life at home. Not all have got a very good health. By and large, each one of us suffer from some deficiency or other. God has not given us all. When these deficiencies come into the forefront, we tend to lose our balance. We tend to be unreasonable. It could be any cause, please. So, my suggestion is first, try to appreciate the background and look at the colleagues' sensitiveness or sensitivities. Once that is known, you can go ahead with what I call it as a situational analysis. Quite often, when the analysis is properly done with considerable amount of objectivity, without any bias, and if the analysis is not too long, many times we come across several people do a lot of analysis. But analysis should not lead to paralysis, please. After making an objective analysis, you come to a certain decision, and then that helps in let it pass through what I call it a situational analysis and take appropriate steps. I can give one example here. One of our workers was doing an extremely great job, and he had several double promotions and so on and so forth. We promoted him as a lead or a leader of a small team of probably 25, 30 people in that area. And suddenly we found that his absenteeism has gone up. His performance was going down considerably. Lots of complaints against that particular person. He was very young, probably about 30, 35. I had a HR person with me. Her name is Rekha Tagore. I requested Rekha, please visit their house and check up what exactly is happening there. So she visited the house 2-3 times, talked to this person, I forget his name please now, and talked to his wife, he talked to the family. A very happy family suddenly has become extremely unhappy. Lots of quarrels between them and so on and so forth. On a very simple thing, and after analysis, situational analysis is what I am talking about, she could make out that The wife was asking for a pressure cooker for quite some time, and the husband has not taken cognizance of that particular request for several months. So she was unhappy, she started shouting, and he was unhappy, and so on and so forth. Very simple. Then when this came to me, I just said that, okay, fine, find out her birthday. And on that birthday, I would go to the house and present to her the pressure cooker. It costs nothing to the company. And when this was done on her birthday, and when we gave it to her, you can see it was absolutely turned around, please. I can go on quoting several examples of this nature. So the point is, to answer your specific question, let us recognize that in large organizations particularly, whether it's large or very corporate or anything of the nature, we are going to have employees, we are going to have colleagues, we are going to have customers, we are going to have all these people who will have considerable amount of diversity in their behavioral approach. And they can be tackled, and they should be tackled with considerable amount of empathy, and we should be able to find out what are really the root causes, and then take appropriate steps on that based on a situation analysis. It is a very difficult question and difficult situation to solve, but it can be solved. Okay, please go ahead.
Sir, I want to ask, how would you advocate your diversity with colleagues who don't understand its importance?
Well, again, the same thing, please. The very first thing is, we explain its existence. We recognize its existence and we explain the existence to with whomever we are talking. It can be colleague, it can be any other person for that matter. And its importance. More importantly, once we understand the importance of a situation that is there, or the attitude that is there, or any other word which you use, then we explain to him what it means to him. Normally, we have a tendency to tell a person that, yes, what he is doing is wrong, it should not be done in this manner, it is affecting maybe the family peace or performance of individual or the performance of an organization, and we stop with that. And if I tell him that because I happen to be a senior or a superior, hierarchically superior, please, I'm not claiming anything, I'm superior because of any other reason, he will listen at that moment of a time, but he will correct it, but he will not change himself. When he will sustain that particular change, in my opinion, he will sustain the change only when he believes it is beneficial for him, or only when that particular colleague, if she is a lady colleague, only if she believes it is beneficial to her, she will change. So when we really talk to them, or when we manage that particular situation, we give greater importance to what it means to him or her rather than what it means to the organization. There is a significant amount of probability of success in dealing with this type of situation only when the concerned person with whom we are dealing as managers believes that it is beneficial to her or him. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Could you tell me about a time that when you advocated for diversity and inclusion in workplace?
Pardon, kindly repeat.
Yes, sir. Could you tell me about a time when you advocated for diversity and inclusion in the workplace?
Several situations, innumerable situations. I can group them into two scenarios, please. In my 50 years of professional career, after I finished my metallurgical engineering from IIT Bombay, that was way back in 1963. I was there as a student from 59 to 63. Mine was the second batch. Initially, for about 20 years, I was concentrating very much on technology. The subsequent 30 years, if I group that, it is in the area of management. By that time, I have grown to the general manager position. After general manager, of course, vice president and president, advisor, corporate, etc., etc., etc. They were all essentially management related. One aspect was, if I answer this from my Mukan steel experience, I did realize after joining Mukan, though I was from IIT, at that time itself, IIT had a certain degree of aura. Oh, are you from IIT? IIT means something great and this, that, etc., etc. It didn't take much time for me to recognize that once you take up a job, whether you are from IIT or from any other engineering college, it doesn't matter. Only your performance counts. So the first 10 years or 15 years, my focus was how I would enhance the performance of me or my performance as a technologist, as a metallurgist. It didn't take much time for me to recognize that nobody bothers once you take up a job, whether you are from IIT or any other place. When I joined BTech Honors was great. Yes, I passed out with the rank and all years with rank, all 4 years with rank. That's why I got the honors at that time. We could BTech Honors. But I felt that that qualification was not adequate. So immediately I went, after 3 years of working at Mukan, I went for my master's at Purdue in the United States. Went on with that particular qualification and I have grown in that organization. Only after around 15, 16 years, I did realize that, yes, I should go for my PhD in metallurgical engineering. By that time, I was married and I had grown up 2 children. Finished my PhD. And by that time, probably I was around 40, 45. And then it helped me quite a lot in recognizing one thing, that we have to continuously learn to upgrade our technology, our technological competence, because particularly in these days, technology obsolescence is pretty high. Unless and until we have that type of a technical competence, meeting to the current needs and current demands and current capabilities, technology capabilities, we will not be able to manage well. Importance of learning came through during this particular thought process, which meant a tremendous amount of appreciation of diversity. I did define the diversity in the beginning itself as the coexistence of different types. You look at the audio. We had gramophone records, which HMB used to bring out. From there, we had the audio systems like CD. Well, before CD, we have the cassettes. From CDs, now we have moved to various things, including now CDs are also out. Today, we are talking of the entire thing thrown into the cloud and retreating from cloud. You see the type of technology change that has taken place. I had seen companies who were making CDs, and when I advised them as an advisor, please move out of the CDs very quickly. The management has put up another CD manufacturing line, and the plant was collapsed and sold in a matter of a couple of years. So they didn't meet to the changing technology. So that is how the focus on the appreciating the technological changes, appreciating the changes surrounding you, and appreciating the diversity which is there related to technology and associated. Once we are talking of focusing on technology, automatically there is diversity in every single aspect of the technology revolution. From there, you move on to the management component of it, and a managing itself has really gone into several phases. It's a different story altogether, please. It takes a long time for me to explain. But the way in which we managed a situation, whether it is industrial or educational or otherwise, which was there probably 30 years back or 40 years back, is not same as now. Even the school where I am president for the past 5 years in Hyderabad, a school wherein we have got from the lower KG all the way up to 10th standard, essentially for relatively less economic, or the students who have got the less economic backgrounds. They needed that type of a support, etc. I'm not talking of corporate schools, please. We had seen the way of the type of material which we are teaching now and the way of teaching. It has already made a sea change. Now it has already moved into the hybrid type of management, and our teachers are being asked to please gear up to that. So it's not only just the physical delivery along with the virtual delivery of the material to the students from the faculty. So therefore, that's how it is, please, when it comes to, there have been several lessons in the process, innumerable applications of diversity in both that particular grouping which I have made of technology management and the corporate management. Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Can you please give me an example of how you make your direct report feel a sense of inclusion, belonging, and equality on daily basis?
Thank you. I think it's a very good question and my favorite subject, honestly. I love to empower my people. It doesn't matter whether I'm just a manager or a general manager or a president of a company. I empower even my sweepers or the lower level people, maybe even L7, whatever. You can empower only when you train the subordinate for him or her to perform. Patiently, we appreciate that he or she is at a very relatively a lower level than me when I am president of the company, because of certain limitations with them. Their capability to listen to me, their capability to perform as I want, I appreciate that it's not very high. Otherwise, they would also become presidents of some companies. I must have tolerance. I must train them. I must train them on their jobs, particularly the critical performance factors. I had the habit of telling my wife in the beginning that when she was unhappy or she was telling me her unhappiness, that a maid servant is not properly doing the job. I appreciate that. Since I used to tell her, yes, her capability to understand is less, her background is less, is more not so conducive to learn. She has relatively more personal problems, including maybe financial, or husband doesn't handle her properly or anything of that nature. She may be having domestic unhappinesses. Appreciate those. Be sympathetic to her. Be empathetic to her. And in a particular specific area of just washing the clothes, for instance, if she doesn't have that particular appropriate training, provide her that particular training with patience. So the very first aspect which I love to do is empower my colleagues. Let them make mistakes. Heavens won't fall. Through mistakes only they learn. When we empower them and we pat them on their back for their good job, when we smile at them, they repeat their good performance with much greater vigor. Secondly, I give a lot of importance to show how, please. There are several persons who just criticize. No, I don't like this. Suppose I have a cook, and if her food is not that tasty. No, it's not tasteful. You must cook better. Fine, it's right. From that particular level 1, that is what I call it a level 1 criticism. From that level 1 criticism, when I move on and I tell her, the food is not tasty because the salt is relatively more or chilies are relatively more. The food is not tasty because of this reason, this reason, this reason, this reason, this reason. Her performance is expected to be better. The third level of criticism is not only telling as to why the food is not that tasty. I tell her that if you cook in this particular manner, it is likely to be, taste is likely to be much better. That means we are not only telling the cause, but also we are telling her what she should do to make the food tastier. The fourth level or the highest level of criticism is what I call as the show how. That's what our grandmothers do. By and large, grandmother's food is tastier than mother's food. Mother's food is tastier than maybe spouse's food. For the simple reason, they have the habit of being with you, standing next to you, and teach you what to do. They handhold you, which I call it as a show how. I would like to do the show how. When we do that type of a thing and consciously work through this particular process, which I have very, very successfully done, please. Even with that almost 60,000 employees of RPG group companies, all of them were trained and used. We have taken the help of hundreds of managers who were trained initially by me, and those managers have in turn trained these workers. Over a 7-year period of my associate advisor, I covered every single employee. That is how the importance of training. And the training leads to empowerment. So I strongly believe the subject of empowerment and implementing that particular empowerment, and where if they make any mistakes or if there are any slippages, let's not unduly worried on that. There could be a few failures here and there, but have patience with them and don't be highly critical. Yes, telling things very clearly, in clear, uncertain terms is very important. But having said that, try to have what I called it as the level 4 criticism, rather than just being critical of subordinates. In my opinion, such a management approach brings in considerable amount of happiness and significant performance, in spite of the diversity which we have been talking. Okay, please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. It's a valuable answer. What steps will you take to eliminate bias from your hiring process?
There are again several, please. There are several. I think at each of these management steps to overcome any deficiency that is there, I found that it is very essential that we don't follow the set processes. We hear a lot, like Peter Drucker has said like this, or Dr. Durand said like this, or Dr. So-and-so has said like this, and this is the process which they have followed, etc., etc. Yes, there are some. Dr. Deming brought in what is called a PDCA cycle. We see several models. They're all there in the books. I strongly believe that yes, read them, appreciate them, understand them, but ultimately, when you start applying them, each organization has got what I call its own culture. Why each family has their own culture. There are some very highly inviting families. There are some organizations who are very friendly to employees. There are some organizations who are not at all. You will find a lot of differences you will find. So while the models or while the existing processes, proven processes, I'm not critical of them, please, but appreciate that the fact that if even globally acts out its own negativities when it comes to marrying with the culture of an organization. So I appreciate that why what we tell as a corporate, revisit your vision every 3 years or 5 years. From the vision states, to develop mission statements. You can have quality mission, you can have HR mission, you can have operation mission. When you drive the mission statement. From there, you drive the performance levels at individual of them. Use the various types of proven processes definitely, but it becomes essential for us to make the necessary corporate objectives. Number of developments in those areas from my point of view, which have been patented, which have been very training for skill, training for quality. Many people feel training is a simple thing. No, please. There are models available. And this model was developed, one chairman of a large company requested me, Dr. Rao, you developed this, but even I am not able to appreciate, understand. I gave him a very for my car. So let's go with an assumption that I have an expensive car, maybe Volkswagen, and I want to employ a driver. I give the keys to him, and he takes I take a test drive, and I find that he's quite comfortable. He's able to drive very smoothly. He's able to too often, and if it's a geared vehicle, he change the gears after pressing the clutch very carefully, etc., etc., etc. So he's a very good driver, has the additional capabilities. If I am giving lift to my secretary, a lady secretary, to maybe a railway station or metro station or anywhere, he opens the door first to her, not to me. She may be my secretary in the company, but once we come out, she's a lady worth giving that type of respect. Or if a child will doubly check that the safety lock is closed. If those attributes he has got, I enjoy it. Yeah, oh my God, what a lovely driver. But they are the quality attributes. One is the and training for quality. His behavioral aspects of it. He comes with a clean dress. He talks with certain amount of etc. etc. In my opinion, I think you use that word subordinate. When this is percolated across the organization, Very, we'll do the first step. Only managers. When can my manager do that? When I do it as a president. So there's which are suitable for your culture, and then train as per the developed models towards better performance. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. How has diversity played a part in your career?
Substantial. Just again, I'm just putting my as a metallurgist and maybe about 25-30 years or 35 years as a management or manager or management consultant. That's it. In the first case, when I started as a metallurgist, when we were making steel in Mukan Steel, we were producing 5 tons in typically 6 hours. When I left that particular company, after working for about 20 years, I became a manager, etc. But much more than general manager, or I became vice president by the time. From melting of 5 metric tons, we were melting close to 30 tons of steel in 1 hour. 5 type of situation in the beginning, the productivity has very significantly gone up, being melted in just 1 hour instead of 6 hours. Instead of 5 tons, it is 25 tons. Imagine the type of productivity increase. It was possible because of the process of making steel has gone several stages. So that was it. There is tremendous amount of diversity. Tremendous diversity, as I said. Melting processes, there were different types of materials which we use, there were different types of methodologies and new equipment. And we had to be trained, we had to be knowledgeable on those particular technologies. If we extend to the, I come to the second point, during the period of, let's say, from my general manager position to vice president, president, and corporate advisor, if I take those 4 as the milestones, the management changed, drastically changed. It will be like that. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead with the next one.
Thank you, sir. In your opinion, what is the most common mistakes in an organization's thinking about diversity?
Acceptance of status quo. I get very happy that if my turnover is 10,000 crores, and if my profit is 1,000 crores, 10% of that, and I keep quiet. I'm producing 10,000 tons of 10,000 maybe CDs, and I'm making 1,000 crores. I'm very happy. The biggest challenge is acceptance of status quo. We should never accept. Individuals should not accept. Families should not accept. You should not accept in your dealings with others. Don't go with a feeling that I'm happy, I'm great, I'm this, I'm that, etc., etc. Continuously learn. Even diversity is dynamic, please. Even diversity is dynamic. Not sufficient if I am conscious of a diversity which is at this moment of time, and then address to that tomorrow, and then keep quiet. You have recently heard of Microsoft's story, how they went about and then made entering into the cloud as a fascinating business model. Like that, we have several cases. So, and second aspect is recognize in case if you don't focus on knowledge, people have a tendency to focus a lot on information. You can download thousands of pages, even on cancer. You read that and you, based on that, you become an expert of cancer. You will never be. It's not, therefore, let's not manage through information. Let's manage through knowledge. If we don't do that particular thing, then I'm afraid organization will very quickly fall back. They will go into red. So acceptance of status quo is I think, the worst disease, either to the individuals or to organizations, even on the schools, even on the colleges. Why do you do this type of initiatives, which we are discussing this evening for about an hour or so? You want to be dynamic. Why do you want to be dynamic? You want to face the diversity. You recognize the diversity. You have to continuously do that things. So we all should get out of this information bank that is facing us. We all have to be knowledgeable. We should not be comfortable with the status quo. We should really move ahead with much greater speed than others. The only thing that doesn't change in this world is change. We all should change for better. If organizations do not do that, there will be a status quo at this moment. The status quo is a sure death very soon. Yeah. Any other question, please?
Thank you, Dr. Rao.
Okay, fine. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure talking to all of you. Thank you so much once again to Professor Raghav Rao, who has given me this opportunity to share with you people. And it's a great pleasure. Thank you so much once again.
Oh, okay, sir. Now, may I request Amarendra?
Thank you, sir.
Vote of thanks.
It gives me a great pleasure to propose vote for thanks of this event. I feel it as a great privilege to have Dr. R.H.G. Rao, who shared his experience as a top executive handling the diversity in workplace. His answer to the questions posed by my colleagues are really mind-blowing, and we are enamored by his information about how to handle the diversity in workplace. Thank you, Dr. Rao. How can we express our gratitude to you, sir? But just to say thank you, I thank all my fellow students who is part of this event. I felt in my duty if I don't thank our blonde trainer, teacher, and mentor, Mr. C. Raghav, who is a source of inspiration to all of us. I thank all other participants for their active participation. Thank you all and good night, sir.
Thank you so much. I wish you all the best. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.